Hello, my name is Itzel Vargas. I want to say the type of leader that I was before starting the applied major coursework. I was definitely not assertive. Every time that I would say something, someone would try to change my mind, and usually it would work because I wasn't being assertive enough. And back when I was a manager at McDonald's back around 2018, 2019, I was a manager for about 2 years, and it was very different for me because I usually like to stick to the sidelines. I didn't really consider myself much of a leader, and whenever I would have to tell someone something, it would make me feel uncomfortable because I didn't think I had that type of leadership to tell someone what to do, much less kind of order them around and tell them how to do their job, which is honestly what was needed at the time. That's the kind of leader that they wanted, and I'm not sure why they put me in that leadership, but they must have seen something in me. I do wish that I would have been able to be more assertive, more firm, and I want to say that I did have the trust of those around me at the time. I knew how to communicate well with them. It's just I was lacking in the assertiveness at the time. The things I have learned as I'm completing each class is the different type of leadership styles that every organization has, or leaders they have. I don't know why I had this kind of stigma that all leaders kind of followed one thing and that's what kind of worked for them. But going through this course and learning and researching different type of leaders, I have learned that leaders use different kind of leaderships and they kind of mold it into what works for them. For example, Jeff Bezos, I know he's very firm and strict on his employees, but he also takes accountability of what goes on in his organization, and that's why he's very successful in what he does. So I think that was very interesting, being able to learn more about different type of leadership styles that other leaders have around the world, not just regarding one person. I also like to learn how I could be a leader and how I could apply that into my own personal life now currently. So I think that was a pretty great, being able to learn all that new leadership styles. I believe that the type of leader that I am now, I want to say that I am more firm with what I believe in. Not that I won't apply what people give or what people try to tell me in kind of their opinion. It's not that I'm gonna ignore their opinion. It's more like if I know that this is what's best for the organization or the type of role that I'm playing as a leader, I'm gonna stick to what I believe if I've already played all the other odds. So I believe that being a firm is going to help me become a better leader. And I also know that there are different types of other leadership styles. I don't want to be the type of leader that pushes their individuals aside and let the leadership take go over my head. I want to be the type of leader that people can count on, and that they know that if they need something, they can always come to me regarding anything. I definitely don't want to be the type of leader that doesn't acknowledge or take into accountability what others do for them, because I know that's important. I've learned a lot through this course that if you value what others do for you, such as employees or whomever surrounds you, they're going to stick around a lot longer and they're going to value the place that they are put in at that current time. I know that me, when I was at McDonald's, I every time we would get a bonus, that definitely every time I would want to quit, that kind of made me stick around a little bit longer because I was being rewarded for my work as well as my current employment at a elementary school. We get a bonus on Christmas and in the summertime, and that for everybody, I mean, that makes everybody want to stick around a lot longer. they also make us feel valued and feel important, like we are contributing into the organization as a whole. So I know that that's important part of leadership, is being able to value what others do for you or what they are doing, and be very communicative about that. Another thing that I've learned is that communication plays an important role in leadership, because I've seen it firsthand when people don't communicate with each other, and there's just different type of confrontations that are being taken in both situations. And being able to communicate with both parties, or whomever the misunderstanding is, if you are able to communicate what you need and being able to be heard, that plays a big important role as well. I know that if there is no communication, the organization is not going to flow very well. I saw it firsthand whenever I used to have an old boss at my current job. This person wasn't communicative enough around to anyone, really. They stuck to themselves, and I saw that that's not what we were used to in our job. We were used to telling anybody, okay, so for example, if a teacher was missing, they would announce it over the intercom and say, oh, this Miss so and so is missing today. This assistant needs to cover that class. So then they would say that the assistant was not going to be available to do their daily schedule like they usually do. And so all the teachers that this assistant would miss, they would know why this assistant wouldn't be coming to their classrooms that day. But whenever this person came into that leadership, into our work, they didn't, whenever somebody was missing and then assistant was pulled, they didn't communicate it to anybody, and it was just a big mess because nobody knew where someone was. They just thought that, oh, maybe they didn't want to come and they weren't doing their job. So that caused a lot of conflict, and it definitely kind of destroyed the kind of communication that we had built, because communication is very hard to do. But it was very hard to get back to it, and I know that it wasn't necessarily others' fault. It was more so our leader. Our leader didn't establish that type of communication with us. So if he didn't do that for us, we couldn't really go around him and communicate other stuff. And that definitely took a toll in our organization. There was a lot of people that wanted to leave due to the fact that there was lack of communication in our job at the time. There was also, that person would also just decide things on their own without communicating to us or trying to get our inputs on decisions that were being made, that would go and kind of, that would make us be a part of it. And he didn't take accountability, our opinions, and so that was kind of a little bit of a mess. And that's the reason why there was quite a bit of teachers that decided to leave that year, because they had never seen that type of leadership style, and they weren't happy with or content with what was going on. So it was a really hard year for everybody, because it wasn't what we used to. We were used to having good communication skills and not having a lot of confrontations amongst each other, which was not happening. We were having a lot of issues communicating with each other, and there were so many different types of arguments going around each other, and just the workplace in itself was so tense that you could sense it, and there was a lot of unhappiness. So that's definitely not the type of leader that I want to become someday. I just know that that's not going to benefit anybody. So as a leader, I want to definitely be able to establish those sort of situations. I want to be able to communicate with those around me. I want to be able to also make others around me feel valued of what they do. I know that that's really important, because if you let others know verbally and also by a bonus or such, or reward them in other different areas, they are going to be much happier where they stay or where they are at the moment, that they're not going to want to go anywhere else. Because I know that at my current job, I definitely don't want to go anywhere else, because I feel valued. They communicate very well with me, and I love the type of professionalism that is going on in there. And definitely, I have just learned a lot about leadership, different leadership styles, and what hasn't worked for other leaders, and that's why their organization isn't blossoming as other type of leaders are, because they establish different type of leaderships into their organizations. So I thought that was really interesting, and it's just been interesting to learn about all those areas of leadership. Thank you.